creating this welcome center. This will be a comprehensive center. In Chinese terms, we call it one dragon service. 一条龙服务. One dragon service means anything you need to help, just come here. So it's one dragon. So in my district, in my office, we always have immigrants coming to our office asking for help. Immigration, business, landlord tenants, because they don't have a language capacity. So they always go to my office. Sometimes they're from New Jersey, they come to my office. Or from other areas, they don't know. Oh, Peter Cool, Chinese, so they come to me. So it's really time-consuming for providing special legal immigrant service. So it would be nice that this welcome center will provide all these services, immigrant help, how to apply Medicaid, how to make food stamps. All of these things are basic necessities for immigrants when they first come here. When they haven't found a good job yet, or they cannot pay the bills, even if they have a job, the pay is not enough for them to survive in New York City because everything is so expensive here. The rent, the food is very expensive now, the college tuition, everything is so expensive. So I want to give a shout out to our board president and his wonderful staff for creating this welcome center. I myself, I'm an immigrant. I came here 50 years ago. When I came 50 years ago, things are much simpler, not so complicated. But now things are very complicated. It takes a long time just to apply for to open a restaurant. It takes a long time. You have to go over so many hoops, so many channels. Fire department, health department, consumer affairs, all these things. And most new immigrants, they don't know what to do. So it's very nice that we have a One Dragon comprehensive service here. Thank you, Donald.
Thank you. Thank you, Peter, for renaming the welcome center. We're going to go to a woman now because got to switch it up a little bit. We're going to go to the newest council member in Queens, Sylvina Brooks Powers.
Thank you so much, Borough President, and good afternoon, everyone. My name, once again, is Councilwoman Sylvina Brooks Powers. I represent the 31st Council District, and I serve on the Council's Committee on Immigration. I'm so excited to be a part of today's opening of the Immigrant Welcome Center. I am the daughter of two Jamaican immigrants who immigrated from Jamaica right here to Queens. So this is the only home outside of Jamaica that my parents had us known. And when they immigrated here in the 80s, it was not the way it was now. To my colleague, how he mentioned, it was a very different environment. And I remember even as a student going to school, the difficulties in navigating the network of resources that were available. So I understand firsthand how critically important having a welcome center is here. Queens is the home of so many different cultures and ethnicities, and to know that we have a one-stop shop with wraparound services here, where they'll be greeted by professional people who really care. And so I commend the Borough President for an amazing selection and the staff that will be here and the commitment to our immigrant communities across the borough. So thank you so much. And I am especially proud for my former council member, now Borough President, the amazing work that he continues to do on behalf of the 2.4 million residents of the borough of Queens. Thank you.
All right. Next, we'll hear from my former colleague in the council, Councilmember Barry Redention.
Thank you, Borough President. It's kind of emotional for me to be here today. I probably have spent more time in this building than anyone else who is here right now, or most people that are still alive. I had the honor of working here for 3 different... Are you talking while I'm talking, Peter? Because there's going to be a test later. For 3 borough presidents, the late great Claire Shulman and Helen Marshall, and of course Melinda Katz. And I want to say to Anna Yelly, and I hope I got that right, and Megan, I loved it so much here I came back 3 times. So And I say that with all sincerity. People are going to come here to see you that need help. They're not coming here because they got nothing else to do. And government is only as important as it is useful to the people that it is trying to serve. And I know if Donovan Richards hired you, you got to be top shelf, so there's no doubt about that. And I want to congratulate you and wish you all the best. A lot has been said. This is indeed the borough of immigrants. And I once wrote a joke for Claire Schulman, but it's telling. People come here, they fly into JFK, they go through immigration and they get their bags, and then they get in a car or a taxi or an Uber or whatever, and then they get on the Van Wyck Expressway and they can't get anywhere, so they get out of the car and they stay here in Queens. That's why we have the most diverse place on the face of the earth. But in all seriousness, a lot of people are hurting right now, and a lot of people need help, and that's what government is all about. And as the four of us, myself, Ms. Brooks-Powers, Peter Koo, and Jim Gennaro, you're about to help. We're going to pass a budget in the next 15 days that's going to be a statement about where our priorities are. And I can assure, where's that woman from the New York Immigrant Coalition? She left. When you come into my office, the first thing you see is a sign that says Immigrants Welcome. And we're going to do everything that we can to make sure that not only are immigrants welcome, but they feel welcome here in New York City, and especially in my home borough of Queens. Thank you, our President, for your vision. Thank you to Ms. Cruz for giving you that little push that we sometimes need. And I look forward to coming back here and seeing the office in action. Thank you.
Next, we'll hear from a good friend of mine as well, Councilmember Jim Gennaro, proudly supporting the Queens College.
I upset the balance of power. What's going on? How about the one dragon service? I want to thank the borough president for all he does to build bridges and break down barriers. A round of applause for the borough president. And I wish to be associated with all the good remarks that have been made by everyone here, and particularly all my colleagues. I'm going to talk about, very briefly, about, I have four, immigrant grandparents who came here. I'm older than you think, more than 100 years ago. And when they came here, they, it was necessary to hide their ethnic background in order to get, just in order to survive, and to be in any way, shape, or form included in anything. And they changed their name, they changed their first names, changed their last names, hid their heritage, and they did the best they could. And they didn't have the benefit of a place like this. I didn't have the benefit of the mentality of the people in this room, or visionaries like Donovan Richards, but all my colleagues leading the way. And my father became a watchmaker. He went to trade school, and he made this gold watch for himself. He has his name on there, and he made this in the late 1940s. And I was recently at a family wedding, and they had Gennaro family memorabilia, and they had the wedding album of my parents when they got married in 1952. When they got married in 52, they moved to 8250 135th Street, right around the corner. And as I was looking at that, wedding album, he was wearing this watch. And so time goes on, time changes. We have to make times better. That's what the borough president is all about. This is what the center is all about. This is what all my colleagues are all about. And this is what I'm deeply committed to. Thank you very much for having me here.
Thank you.
You can see the watch after the thing.
Alrighty. So I want to acknowledge many of the advocates who will make this endeavor possible. I want to start with Joanne Yu, who's not here, but the Executive Director of the Asian American Federation. Let's give her a round of applause. Myra Aldis, the Immigrant Advocates Response Collaborative, IARC, thank you. Josefa Castro, Catholic Charities of Brooklyn and Queens. Eva Kornaka, the Executive Director of POMIC, Inc. Shayu Lin, the former President of the Taiwanese American Association of New York. Suda Akaira, Executive Director, South Asian Council for Social Services. Fred Geithner, Assistant Director of New Initiatives and Partnership Liaison at Queens Public Library. Robert Agimon, I think I got that right, New York Director of African Americans Together, ACT. Sebastian McGuire, from Seeking Asylum, Finding Empowerment, SAFE. Norbada Chetri and Maya Gurung from Adakar. Reverend Simone Pandey from Giles. Kamala Chetty from Savoys. Diana Moreno from the New York Immigrant Community from New Immigrant Community Empowerment, nice, of course. And I want to thank everybody for coming out. If there are any questions, we'll take them. And I, of course, want Anna Yelly to come say some words as well. I know she's not prepared to, but she does this work like day in and day out, and I'm so appreciative of what you built and how you put this together. And I want folks to know this is just the beginning, that we envision having a standalone center that people can go to as well, and that's something we're working on as well. But I want to bring up Anna Yelly just to say, to close us out, and if there are any questions, we'll take them. And Megan.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. Megan and I have been working for quite some time to make sure that we have a space that is welcoming for our immigrants. I am an immigrant myself. I came at the age of 4 from Mexico, and I actually spent about 25 years of my life being undocumented. So being here as the Director of Immigrant Affairs for the Queens Borough, for the world's borough, is just an amazing feeling. And to be working with our borough president and our Assemblywoman Catalina Cruz to make this a reality and to lead this forward is a dream come true. And we're going to be working with our advocates that are doing the groundwork, the grassroots work on a day in, day out basis to make sure that we amplify the work that they're doing. So I hope you feel welcome here. Make sure you call us, you email us, and we're going to be working to make sure that we uplift the immigrant community. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions?
Congratulations, first of all. Can you give us some specifics on what services will be provided? Thank you.
So at the moment, we are solidifying a partnership with CUNY Citizenship Now in order to provide legal consultations for them. The second thing that we will be doing is referring our constituents to the community-based organizations that are doing groundwork. And right now, we are in the middle of doing outreach work. So we will be tabling, we'll be going out into the communities to ensure that they know that the welcome center is open.
And let me just also add, from a budgetary standpoint, we have not done our expense budget. We want to make sure that even through not just policy, but through budget, that we're also supporting many of these organizations who we know do great work, but who are stretched, who are limited in their capacity. So putting some money where our mouth is going to be important through this endeavor as well. And we want also people to know when they come here, and the beauty of coming here is that we have other services. We have 73 staffers here. We need food assistance, housing assistance. All of these wraparound services exist right in these walls. We have IDN, we're not in the other room because we have IDNYC, and we've had them for the last month. I think they'll be here towards the end of the summer. But we want people to know when they come to Queensborough Hall that this is your house. This is the people's house. We really mean and believe that, and you should be able to come in here and get a one-stop shop opportunity for services. And let me also say, organizations want to use space here. We are opening the door. That's one of the reasons we have IDNYC in. We want this to be a place people know they can come to get each and everything they need. Once again, going back to food access, going back to help with housing assistance, all of those different things exist right in these walls.
But also, you guys are saying you're going to refer people to community groups to do that. I thought this was the one-stop shop. How is that different from what they're already going through?
Well, they're going to be, so what we envision is some of the organizations will be here as well, but also not just, one of the things about our communities is we don't want to be stuck in between four walls either. We need to be out in the street, we need to be at Corona Plaza, we need to be in these places. But one of the things that differentiates this is committed space. We're sending a signal to immigrants across the borough that Borough Hall is open to help you. So I think that that's what really differentiates us. I talked about also having a standalone center. That's something we're working on for the long term. So today is just the beginning, but we're sending a very strong message that Borough Hall is open to immigrants, and that yes, we are going to work with providers. Obviously, we can't have everybody under one tent, each week, different organizations are doing different things. But I could talk about community citizenship for now, which we had a very strong partnership with, and that's why I wanted them to be a part of this as well, going back to my days in the city council where they were in my office, at least twice a week, 2 or 3 times a week, just working on issues of pathways to citizenship, other priorities that the community needed as well. So we envision seeing that play out here as well.
What about undocumented immigrants, if they would like to come and here?
Say it again.
Undocumented immigrants.
Undocumented.
Oh, undocumented, yes, undocumented, right. We're open for everyone, and as someone who's a son of somebody who just became a citizen last year, it's very personal for me too, that people be able to come into a place and feel free, that they're not going to have ice in their walls, they're not going to be targeted. So this is a space for immigrants, and we want people to know, whether you're undocumented, whether you're documented, that Queensborough Hall is open to you.
Mr. President, what is the marketing strategy for this department? How are you going to promote it to the general public?
Well, we're going to put, I talked about putting money, money helps with marketing, so we want to do that. Of course, we want to continue to work with the mayor's office as well and get the Blasio to put some money here too. And I'll continue to do that as well as we get through this budget as well. But we will use every form of communication. We have an extensive email list, social media, and we've been doing something we've done differently since I've become borough president. We do monthly, and I've got to get back to doing it, but ethnic media roundtables, so that we're reaching out to not just the Daily News, but we're reaching out to many of the media who plays an important role in their specific communities. We talked about language access here, having people who can interpret, right? It's very important, because a lot of times it feels like government is cut off and we're inaccessible because of the language barriers. So while it's a small print within the press release, I don't think you understand how significant that is, that anybody can call. In Queens, I think the last count we have is like over 200 languages, nearly 350 languages spoken in Queens County. So to have that baked into what we do here is something that's going to be critical as well. So we're gonna be out. Yelly talked about being out in communities. We're not going to be stuck within these 4 walls. We'll be tabling. We'll be out in the community, meeting people where they're at as well. Thank you.
Hi, Mr. President. Thank you very much that you opened a very great welcome center for the immigrants. But how do you want to reach out to the people, that people will get to know that there is a welcome center in the Queensborough Hall? How do you want to reach out?
How will we reach out to people who don't know that there's a welcome center? So the strategy doesn't change when you're doing marketing. Flyers, email, social media, and through your networks, right? The organizations that we're partnering with also have a natural constituency that we can work with as well, which is going to be helpful in pushing. They will be more than helpful in pushing this information out, but this is why I talked about making sure that we're not just supporting them in name, supporting them, financially as well, so that we can broaden our appeal to the general public as well. But I can tell you now, all the work we do here, when we promote, we always get a good turnout. We did a lot of work around ranked choice voting. Just a myriad of different issues. We're doing roundtables with different community leaders monthly, so whether you're Muslim, Jewish, Asian, I mean, we're doing roundtables with every community. I just did a big roundtable with Muslim leaders last week, so we're gonna also rely on them to get this information out as well. So everybody has a role to play. You know, we all have to be ambassadors to a degree to get this information out. But I'm more than positive that it's gonna work because I was on a bare bones budget in the council doing CUNY citizenship, and I mean, our schedule was never blank. I mean, there were people who came in and when we promoted the program. Thank you. Again, I got to acknowledge our Deputy VP, Deputy Borough President Rhonda Benda, also for guiding. Okay, and we'll have the advocates
Can you
come in.
send me the picture of ribbon cutting? Can you send me one picture of ribbon cutting?
Thank you so much.